This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
In the things you want, but if you slow down for just 1 second, you might feel way better than you thought. And if you took a second to breathe, took a minute to cry, well, maybe you would see that all this time I've been right here. Maybe I know it, life can get hard, keep going. I just wanna be the one you need right now. Baby, would you turn and look at me right now? Me right now. What's going on? You can tell me everything that's going wrong. Only say the word will disappear somehow. All we gotta do is be right here, right now. Right now.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know that. It never has and it never will. Anyways, how are you? It has definitely been definitely a long week. Today is Friday, May the 5th of 2023, day 125th of the year, and only 240 days left to go. So I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at. Radio Big. Oh, yes, hanging out at RadioBig.fm. No need to worry about that. So let's talk. Disappearance act, 4 days gone, vanish, finito, can't find me, don't know where I'm at. Okay, so let's share the beans here. Let's share the beans. I was actually in Canada. I've been in Canada over the last 4 days, really 5 because I left on Sunday. I got to hang out in some very interesting places. Got to hang out with some people at Energy Safety Canada. Starting off on Monday morning, and then went that was in good Calgary, and then got to hang out in Banff on Monday, and then did some stuff, and then came down the good mountain. That was Monday, Tuesday, and then headed back. Then ended up having to do some meetings in the Ontario side, so going coastal there. So that was it. That was the disappearance act. So if you're hanging out on the radio, you are definitely getting the best of. But we are here in living color, live and in living color on May the 5th. So don't worry about that. 4 minutes in, that's what's going on. So don't worry. So we still got a lot of stuff to talk about. I almost feel like I'm encapsulated over the things that happened this week and haven't been able to talk about them. But don't worry. I always make some time to talk. So if you're new to the show, kind of a simple process. We talk about safety in the news and safety. I give you a versionality of the main story, normally on Monday through Thursday. And Fridays, we do Freeform, which we talk about everything. And I kind of feel that we're going to talk about everything, but I don't know if we go main story today, opposed to just the chitter-chatter. You know what I'm saying? The chitter-chatter of stuff. So just keep that in mind as we are doing it. I missed you. I really did. I mean, because, when we go for a long period of time without you and I hanging out, I kind of get a little restless because I don't know what's going on in your world And I want to share what's going on in mine. Like, I felt guilty. No, seriously, I felt guilty not sharing exactly what was going on. And I will tell you, if you've never been to a meeting put on by Energy Service Canada, you definitely have to go to one of those. Definitely worth its while. I will tell you, a lot of love for Murray for what he's doing out there. You also have Amy Kruger out there that is just excellent, 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 excellent. I mean, world class in just regards of the stuff that she puts together. So if you do have the opportunity of hanging out and taking a gander on what they have going on, definitely take a look there. That is for sure. Anyway, so let's give you some links here, some things to do. If you want to take a viewer of the stuff that we do here, you're more than welcome on doing that by going to safetyfm.com or radiobig.fm, and all you have to do is click on the section that says visual radio. That's visual radio, because really do appreciate you hanging out and taking the visual side if that's what you want to do, even though we are a radio show first, podcast next, and then followed along by some kind of video segments. I mean, if you were watching the video, you didn't realize that I screwed it up first thing this morning. But, if you're on the radio side, you had no clue that that's what happened. Now I've ruined the illusion for you. Also, if you want to interact with the show, simple process on doing so, callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That'll get everything moving and grooving for you, and we'll set everything up. Just kind of the gander and how things move forward. So just a little FYI action as we are talking about it. So with that being said, so we are a show, safety in the news. That's what we talk about, as mentioned before. So why don't we get you into that world of newso? Because why would you not want to know about the news? That's what keeps us moving forward with everything that's going on. Matter of fact, before I do the news, why don't I talk about what was trending? I'm so off the game here. Hold on.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so maybe we do that first. We talk about what was the trend of the end of the end. So what's on tap today and what we're going to talk about and what was going on? Well, Delta has an unbelievable flight delay in Houston, and hundreds of pounds of pasta were dumped in New Jersey town. We'll talk about that as we get into the shit list. Also, the White House economic team lays out doomsday scenario if the country defaults on debt payments. We'll talk about that as we get a little swampy. Drew Barrymore opts out of hosting this weekend's MTV's Movie and TV Awards, and Carrie Fisher gets a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We'll talk about more about that in showbiz. And then we can talk about some other stuff going on with the Royals and, and all that kind of stuff, because, it is a big Royal weekend coming up if you have not heard. Anyways, with that being said, now let's talk seriously about getting into some new stuff. So let's bring in those proper people that are hanging out at the desk.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. 2 senators are sponsoring a bill to extend President Biden's authority to expel migrants seeking asylum without a hearing when that power expires next week. More from Mark Mayfield.
The bill, authored by Arizona Independent Kirsten Sinema and North Carolina Republican Tom Tillis, is aimed at holding off an expected surge at the southern border when the health policy known as Title 42 expires on Thursday, May 11th. The bill would give Biden authority to expel asylum seekers without being tied to public health. Sinema and Tillis introduced their bill on the same day that Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas visited the border in Texas' Rio Grande Valley.
Former President Trump now says he will probably attend his civil trial in New York City. Lisa Taylor with more.
Writer E. Jean Carroll is suing Trump for sexual battery along with defamation after he denied her claims that he raped her in the 1990s. Speaking outside a golf course in Ireland, Trump said, "I have to go back for a woman that made a false accusation about me." He added, "This woman is a disgrace, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen in our country." Earlier this week, Trump's legal team said he wouldn't testify in the trial.
Former CIA Director John Brennan and former National Director of Intelligence James Clapper will sit for House subcommittee interviews later this month. The panel investigating alleged weaponization of the federal government will question Brennan and Clapper about a letter signed by former intelligence officials claiming Hunter Biden's laptop had all the classic earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. Massachusetts public officials are outraged following an explosion at the Sequence Pharmaceutical plant in Newburyport. Senator Ed Markey says yesterday's explosion is the latest in a series of avoidable disasters at the facility, which has been cited for multiple safety violations over the years. One man died and 4 workers were hurt in yesterday's explosion, which tore the roof off of the building. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. A gunman's been arrested after 8 people were killed in Serbia's second mass shooting in a week. The UK's governing Conservatives have lost dozens of seats in local elections in England. China's dismissing suggestions one of its diplomats tried to intimidate a Canadian lawmaker, and shoot-at-sight orders have been issued in India's northeastern state of Manipur after clashes there between tribal groups.
The Marine caught on tape putting a homeless man in a deadly chokehold on the New York City subway has lawyered up, and he's picked someone Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg knows well. Andrew Whitman reports.
The Marine, who has not been publicly identified, has hired Thomas Kenneth to represent him, according to the Post. Kenneth is the Republican who lost the DA election to Bragg in 2021. The 24-year-old Marine was taken into custody after Jordan Neely died on the subway Monday, but was released without charges. Neely's death was ruled a homicide on Wednesday.
A Kentucky Derby horse has been scratched from the race and his trainer suspended, Paul Miles reports.
Churchill Downs announced the indefinite suspension of trainer Saffie Joseph Jr. It follows what Churchill calls the highly unusual sudden deaths of 2 horses trained by Joseph at the Louisville track. Earlier in the day, and before his suspension, Joseph spoke to reporters outside his barn.
Here we are dealing with a matter that is good for nobody. I mean, it's the biggest week of racing, and it's not what racing's about. I mean, the reality is a lot of these horses, they get great care. People care for them, and we love them, and it's a crushing moment.
All of the trainers' horses entered in Churchill races, including Kentucky Derby contender Lord Miles, are now scratched from the races.
The late Carrie Fisher is a force to be remembered. Nika Magajes reports.
Her lines from the Star Wars films were legendary.
Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
The actress, who is best known for her role as Princess Leia, posthumously received her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame Thursday.
My mom is a double whammy, a Pez dispenser and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame now. Mama, you've made it.
Actress Billie Lourd accepted the honor on her mother's behalf on May the 4th, a.k.a. Star Wars Day. Actor Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker in the films, also said a few words during the ceremony.
Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com/one. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Listen to our host
of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Oh, yes, only on Safety FM. So there you go, 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing our thing. Oh, yes, doing our thing of things of things. I guess I should talk about this. Maybe I should talk about this. Is this the right one? Yep, this is the right one. So if you have not heard, I will share with you right now. September the 27th through the 29th, if you are not planning on being here, maybe you should. Here in Ghetto, Orlando, we will be having the Conklin Conference. Oh, yes, hosted by yours truly. We'll be hanging out with, of course, Todd Conklin, Jen Long, Bob Edwards, and Mark Yeston. Would love to see you in Orlando in late September. I mean, you know, everything else that will be going on during that time, during the month of September. So why in the hell would you not want to be here? So yes, if you want to find out more information, safetyfm.io. Yes, we'll be hanging out right there on International Drive. You know, one of the most popular spots to go to when in Orlando. So there you go. Conklin Conference, September the 27th through the 29th. You can find out more at safetyfm.io. So there you go. So a lot of stuff, as always, because what else would be going on? So let's get into the shit list right away, because why would we not do that and start talking about what is going on inside of the world of the news? So tomorrow is the 149th Kentucky Derby. It begins before 6 p.m. Central at Churchill Downs in Louisville. Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky. The winning team will take home $3 million prize. A practical move scratched on Thursday and will not complete. And Forte leads the betting odds 3-1 and will be jockeyed by Erad Ortiz Jr. The horse has won 6 out of the 7 starts and the last 5 in a row. So this is according to CBS News, just in case. So if you are a traveler, yesterday might have not been a super good day for you. A swarm of bees were blamed on a 3-hour flight delay at Houston Airport on Wednesday. According to Delta, the flights to Atlanta was held off after a friendly group of bees wanted to talk shop with a winglet in out of the airplanes. No doubt to share the latest about flying conditions at the airport. It is unknown what route the airline took to remove it. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I will tell you there are flight delays among flight delays. I will tell you I was extremely blessed with all my flights with not really having that big of a delays. I mean, there was a minor one here or there, but man, you know, flying these days, you have to be ready. You have to be ready to be delayed for a long period of time. Just kind of the way that it goes right now and it's a privilege to be able to do some of the stuff that we get to do. So I'm not going to bitch too much about this. So take a listen to this. James Murtridge returned from vacation in Mexico with an unwanted souvenir. Upon returning home to England after the trip to Cancun with his girlfriend, James said that he was shocked to discover that he had a nearly 5-inch tarantula in his suitcase. After grabbing a pair of chopsticks and investigating what it was, James was relieved to find that it was no longer alive. He credits passing to storing his suitcase below the plane cargo, which likely froze it to death rather than than the overhead bin in the cabin. It was a fear of being alive and kicking, he added. This is all according to New York Post. Can you imagine that? You're opening your bag after your travel and you have a 5-incher? A 5-incher right there in regards of what the hell's going on with a tarantula. Yeah, it does not sound like a good time. That's for sure.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. Hundreds of pounds of pasta were mysteriously dumped alongside a creek in New Jersey's Old Bridge Township this week. A spokesperson for the Department of Public Works confirmed that to the Philadelphia Inquirer that there was, in fact, what appeared to be 15 wheelbarrow loads of illegally dumped pasta along a creek in the residential neighborhood. The story made it to Reddit, where several users found it offered helpful or not so much suggestions, including one that read, "We should send the perpetrators to the state penitentiary." Penitentiary. To which another user replied, "If we do that, I'm Alfredo that what will happen to them." So there you go. There was also a heavy debate about whether the noodles were cooked prior to being dumped or if they were simply absorbed the moisture of post dumping. The mess was cleaned up shortly after it was found. Still no word on who dumped them. This is, of course, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. So there you go. I mean, who the hell dumps 5 wheelbarrows worth of pasta? That's a lot of pasta, number one. And, pasta's kind of disgusting. I mean, this is my personal opinion. I just don't get it. It's like you're going to dump this into a neighborhood. And how the hell did you get 5 wheelbarrows worth of stuff over there and nobody really noticing? So anyways, in Putnam County, officers responded to a 911 call that a fight in progress. They definitely were not expecting to show up and find 2 goats ducking it out. Yeah. Come on, let's duke it out. 2 goats. I mean, the goat. And I'm not talking about the greatest of all time. So after breaking it up, taking both animals into custody, the Putnam County Sheriff Office had little fun with the call on social media. A Facebook post said the suspects were pretty mad at one another, and the fight escalated into the yard's nearby residents. Both were pretty hard-headed, but officers managed to separate them, wrangled with them by the Putnam County Jail. So the animals claimed by their owners on the following day. So this you go. So this is actually being reported all the way down in Miami. Yes, I don't know why the Miami Herald's reporting it, but that's definitely what was going on. So I mean, I don't know. Is really a goat story something to talk about? I guess so, because we've already done the shit. So let's continue talking. Take a listen to this. We're going to talk. We're going to get a little swampy because it's been a week or so since you and I hung out. But the White House Council of Economic Advisors announced on Thursday that a prolonged battle to raise the debt ceiling that lasts longer than 3 months would mean 8.3 million job losses and a 45% fall in stock market. In the document outlining scenarios spurred by debt default, the council also warns that that there would be at least a limited policy options that would help buffer the impact on household businesses. In other words, the government wouldn't be able to spend any money on other things because about 43% of the spending is already borrowed, and without debt ceiling raised, the government could not borrow even more money. So worth asking, why is it so insane to ask for somebody to spending cuts for the company to increase more debt spending, especially when it was offered as a central portion of Joe Biden's campaign to unify the country? I mean, I don't know. I look at it this way. I've always had issues with debt among debt among debt. So it's kind of a hard time as we are talking about this. There is no doubt about that. So some stuff to think about as we are hanging out and doing the gim for sure. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think as we are talking about it? I mean, does it kind of make you wonder and ponder and all that other fun stuff? Because it makes me wonder and ponder about everything else that's going on inside of the world, though. So I don't know. Don't know for sure. So let's continue talking. Let's talk about the numbers. Let's go through the numbers, numbers, because why would we not do that? So let's take a look at some number sequences because I think we need to do that. So why don't we bring some John Smalls in here right now and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the market beat? Yeah, the market beat. Let's do that. Let's do that right now.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, May 5th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets fell for a third day as a fear of a broader spread financial system crisis grows. While the First Republic Bank chapter of the saga has come to a close, the FOMC is expected to keep rates at high levels for a sustained time and will likely cause more banks to fail. The question is how many and how soon? And the answer may not be known until regulators close the next bank down. The S&P 500 shed more than 1% at the session's low and is testing support at the 40-50 level. Support at this level may be tenuous and lead to another market sell-off. If so, the following targets for support are several percentage points lower. Even if the market can sustain these levels, there is a clear resistance at the 4150 level that is keeping the market from moving higher. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for that information right there, because, you know, what would we not be thankful for in regards of what you're sharing? So let's talk Yaki a little bit more about some of the stuff that I was able to find. The Dow lost about 286 points to close at 33,127 on Thursday. The S&P lost about 29 points to close at 4,061. And the NASDAQ lost about 48 points to close at 11,966. West Texas Intermediate closed at $68 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $72 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.57 on Thursday, and Bitcoin slid about 0.6% on Thursday, trading just under $28,900. There was more than 2,868 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, and more than 43 cancellations. So just so you know, the Mega Million drawing for will be for, let's see, $68 million jackpot or $35.8 million cash payout on Saturday. And Powerball drawing will be for an $87 million jackpot or $46.8 million cash payout. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. And I'm going to reference this because I talked about it at the very beginning. But Drew Barrymore is no longer hosting the MTV Music and TV Award show that supports to show support for the writer's strike. I have listened to the writers, and in order to truly respect them, I will pivot from hosting, she told Deadline on Thursday. The MTV Movie and TV Awards, which were set for Sunday, will now be hostless, an insider told the outlet. So that's going to change some things up as we are talking there for sure. Anyways, let's talk real quick about some other stuff that is going on inside of the world. The University of Alabama is firing their baseball coach over gambling allegations. Well, how did this make it in here? But take a listen to this.
The school said in a statement that Brad Bohannon was terminated for violating the standards, duties, and responsibilities of university employees. A Las Vegas-based gambling monitoring company put out a warning last week about suspicious bets involving the Crimson Tide's series against LSU. The starting pitcher was pulled an hour before game time. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Don't know how the hell it made it inside of this little thing, but hey, we're here talking about it, so there you go. So what else did we see? Take a listen to this one, because this one's interesting. A former CIA director, John Brennan, and former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, will sit for House subcommittee interviews later this month. Mark Mayfield has some details.
The panel investigating alleged weaponization of the federal government is going to question Brennan and Clapper about a letter signed by former intelligence officials claiming Hunter Biden's laptop had all the classic earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. Brennan and Clapper are two of the 51 former officials who signed the letter that was released in October of 2020. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information right there, because it does make it a little bit interesting. Okay, so the man accused in Wednesday's mass shooting in Atlanta was allegedly upset over not being able to receive medication. Mark Mayfield has more.
Dion Patterson is charged with 1 count of murder and 4 counts of aggravated assault. He allegedly opened fire in the waiting room of a medical facility, killing 1 woman and injuring 4 others. Mignon Patterson, the suspect's mother, told WSB-TV in Atlanta that her son was upset that doctors wouldn't provide him a drug for anti-anxiety. On Thursday, he waived his right to his initial hearing. Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta said the 4 women injured in the shooting are improving. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, so hold on. Let me make sure that I understand this. The idea here was that you were upset, things were going on, and you turned around and let's see. Can we take a look-see here? Because let's see. You were upset that you did not receive medication, and then you turned around and decided to shoot some people. I mean, I just don't think that that's the right thing to be doing. Just kind of an idea here as we are talking. Anyway, take a look, listen to this as some other stuff is going on inside of the world. 2 senators are sponsoring a bill that extends President Biden's authority to expel migrants seeking asylum without hearing when that power expires next week. Mark Mayfield reports.
The bill, authored by Arizona Independent Kirsten Sinema and North Carolina Republican Tom Tillis, is aimed at holding off an expected surge at the southern border when the health policy known as Title 42 expires on Thursday, May 11th. The bill would give Biden authority to expel asylum seekers without being tied to public health. Sinema and Tillis introduced their bill on the same day that Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas visited the border in Texas' Rio Grande Valley. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information right there of what is going on, for sure with that. So just a little FYI action as we are talking. Anyways, it is 32 minutes past top of the hour, so I think it is time to do that thing that we do around here, which we normally would call the main story. So let's do that right now because I just think it sounds like a good idea.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's start off with the important portion. That number 1, I know it's Friday. And number 2, I know that this is normally Freeform Friday. So having a main story on a Friday is kind of throws some people off. But then again, not being here Monday through Thursday and doing best of throws some people off too. So I mean, I don't know. Take your pick on which one do you want. Do you want the main story or do you not? But let's talk real quick because the universe, the world, the conglomerate, the simulation, however you want to put it, has been quite interesting this week. In regards of everything going on. I will tell you that things do happen, that life does happen, and that's the way that it goes. But I have been amazed just taking a look around on different things, on the way that things are changing with the industry, on the way that things are advancing within the industry, and what people expect when it comes to changing the way the world is viewed. And it's not that it's difficult and it's not that it's easy, it's kind of somewhere in between. I look around and I ask that all important question. If you could change one thing inside of your organization, what would it be? And most people like to answer that question where we would have no safety incidents. And it kind of, when you hear something along those lines, it kind of goes into that whole weird thing where people are still thinking in that portion that safety is the absence of accidents. And that's not true. It's just not a true statement. That's not what it is. Because for you to truly have no accidents, no incidents within your workplace, you would probably need just to stop work altogether. Seriously, think about this for a moment. If you just didn't do anything and everybody just sat and did absolutely nothing except sit, I mean, you still might have somebody who pulls off a back injury or something because they sat too long. But just think about it. That's truly the only way. And then you go into this whole thing, well, our people have stop work where they know they can stop working if something becomes dangerous. So automatically we have some level of assumption here that our people are going to know and be predictive of when to be able to stop something because they know something bad is going to occur. Think about it. If you have a 5-step process and you know that at step number 3, someone is going to be injured or fatally, wounded, something tells me that a smart person will stop between step 1 and 2 because they're sure as shit not going to step number 3. Think about it for a moment. No one in their right mind would. No one in their right mind would even give any consideration to that. I mean, if you knew that if you stepped right here, you were going to fall through the floor, there's a good chance you're not going to do that. So as we continue to evolve and change and move and all this stuff, we still have some level of craziness that we look at and have very high expectations for. So let's talk for a moment and go, is that going to be the best thing to do with our time? Or do we just realistically need to take a look at this and go, no, that's not the case. We need to be able to move forward. Because there is no doubt in my mind that we are still doing some things kind of, a little crazy to say the least. So with that being said, what do you think? Are we still on crazy land when it comes to a lot of our safety protocols and systems? Or do you think that, yes, safety is the absence of accidents? Is that really the definition to you? Or should it really be the presence of capacity where your system can understand that there will be failures and you have built some things inside of there that make sense? Just asking the question, just trying to figure it out. It is Friday. It is Friday, May the 5th. El Cinco de Mayo, which I have to tell you, there will be some people that very excited today, celebrating some things because of El Cinco de Mayo. And you probably should look into it in regards on who does really celebrate it and who doesn't. I mean, that might be another thing to think about for sure.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today, I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Our conversation's always entertaining. And if you just want me to listen, I can do that too. Because all that I can do for you, I'll do. Oh yeah, baby, I know it. Life can get hard, keep going. I just wanna be the one you need right now. Baby, would you turn and look at me right now? Me right now, what's going on? You can tell me everything that's going wrong. Only say the word will disappear somehow. All we gotta do is be right here, right now,
Okay, yeah, right now, this is Elliot going on right there. You are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show, hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. So does that mean you get hour 2 and 3? Of course you do. So thanks to Elliot for allowing us to play this here. You can download this one if you want to by going to YouTube Music, Apple Music, or Spotify, or you can do a little streamer-eamer. Some little streaming action. A lot of fun stuff as always. Yeah, take a look at me right now.
You can tell me everything that's going on.
Okay, so there you go. Always some fun stuff. Let's get back into the move and the groove of the stuff that we have going on, because why wouldn't we? Why would we not do that? So let's get back into it. It is 44 minutes past the top of the hour because, that's what we do here. We cut into time. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. So let's talk real quick. I need to tell you. Yep, it's just a need at this particular point in life. I need to tell you about my friends at True Right Love on Her Arms. You can find them at twloha.com. That's twloha.com. Listen, they are going to be there to help you. If you are going through any level of struggling with addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, anything along those lines, they're there. All you have to do is go to twloha.com/find help. Or just once you get to the website, on the very top, far right corner, find help. I'm telling you, there's all kinds of resources there. We all go through struggles. What I have the hardest time interacting with or doing is not being able to talk about this. People have a hard time talking about this subject. I think it should be so common at this point that we should talk about it all the time. Seriously, all the time. There should not be a conversation that goes on that people don't know that there's support out there. You'll see me wearing this stuff all the time because I think it's so important to discuss. Seriously. There is no doubt there. So, TrueRightLoveOnHerArms.com, TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. So there you go. Let's continue talking about some things that are going on inside of the world, because I think that's going to be important. Let's talk about some movies that are opening this weekend, if you might be interested in doing this. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is out this week. Peter Quill is still reeling for the loss of Gamora and must rally his team to defend the universe and protect one of their own. A mission that, if not successful, could lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them. So that came out PG-13. Love Again comes out this week. Dealing with the loss of his fiancée, Mira Ray, sends a series of romantic texts to his old cell number, not realizing that the number was reassigned to someone else. So there you go. And then What Love Got to Do with It? Yeah. So let's see. An award-winning filmmaker documents her best friend's journey into an arranged marriage according to his family of Pakistani heritage. In the process, she challenges her own attitude towards the relationship. So those are all out today. So, we've heard all these different work things lately that you can do. And during the pandemic, there was the big work from home push. But what about work from bed? And no, it's probably not that perverse thing that you're thinking about. It's something entirely different. But when you work remotely, where are you when you actually do the work? So 1/3 of us say that the answer is bed. A survey of 2,000 people who work mostly or entirely remotely found that 35% of the time they spend an average of an hour a day working from bed. It's not all jammies and comforters, though 63% respondents said that they work primarily from a dedicated home office. That's in stark contrast of a similar poll conducted before the pandemic when remote workers reported that they were more likely to do their office work from a hotel, a friend or a family member's home, or a coffee shop, and that there would be the biggest perks of being able to work away from the office. According to the one poll survey, being able to dress comfortably is number one at 57%, followed by having no commute 54%, and working on their own schedule 53%. What about working from bed? That's quite a perk. I mean, that could probably lead into a whole bunch of other things when you say that. It just sounds wrong. And based on what I've seen, most remote workers also put at least 1 hour a day in Starbucks. I mean, I'm just saying.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about some news of the weird today, because I think we need to talk about that. A sailboat crew jumped into action to save 2 tourists from a sinking van after they drove into the Hanaka Harbor in Hawaii. Why? They were following the GPS video shows of the quick-thinking crew swimming up the driver and passengers and helping them out of the vehicle through the front window. Meanwhile, another pair of men tied a rope to the back of the van, attempting to pull it onto the boat ramp, but ultimately failed and it quickly became fully submerged. The videographer can be heard saying from behind the camera, pretty sure that it wasn't supposed to happen. You have not reached your destination. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that? Like, at what point do you follow a GPS so close that you don't realize you're about to go into a body of water? Now, think about that. I mean, I can understand certain things, but at some point you have to realize, hey, if I take a turn here, this is going to lead me into some water. I'm just throwing that out there. So a hotel guest blamed his feet on an overpowering stench in his room, but discovered later that there was a corpse that was under his bed. The man, identified as Mr. Shang, checked out on the Guru Shuang Inn, a popular Tibetan hotel, and promptly took a 3-hour nap in his room where he detected a foul odor and he assumed that it came from his feet. I mean, how bad does this guy's feet smell? He went out and returned to change for dinner when he was hit by a stronger stench, so he requested another room. That night, he was awakened by the hotel staff and asked him to go to the first room, where the police told him the body that was discovered under the bed. They took his statement, but indicated they had already arrested someone for the murder. After the hotel denied the whole thing to the media, Shang decided to post a review of his macabre experience online, where the event went viral on social media, and now everyone knows that he has stinky feet. This is according to New York Post, of course. So there you go. Let's talk real quick about, about some did you know? Researchers at the University of Texas have successfully created an artificial intelligence system that can translate a person's brain activity into plain, reliable language. Yep. If it can read your mind, that's what it's saying. The device known as the semantic decoder can do by utilizing technology implemented by ChatGPT, had no surgery or special implant is required. A test subject is instructed to listen to a podcast while inside the scanner before having their thoughts decoded by either telling the story in their heads or imaging it. This allows the machine to generate corresponding text from the brain activity alone, the researcher said. If it can read the mind, it can probably bore it to death as well. So there you go. Just some stuff to think about as we are talking. So there you go. 51 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it is time to bring some John Smalls back in here and let him tell us about some Motivation Minute stuff.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Greg. Nate Miller said, "Don't focus on who will show up in your life to help you. Focus on who you will help by showing up in their life." I love this. I have several friends who are performers, whether in a band or stand-up comedy. They put themselves out there often. And I recently had a gentleman who was kind of complaining that, as he put it, the others don't support him by going to his shows. First, I apologized that I hadn't been to more of his shows myself. Then I asked him, "How often do you go to their shows?" He had a bit of a blank look. I think we found the problem. Be there for them, and they'll be far more likely to be there for you more often as well. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. One of the biggest stressors on the physical body is chronic dysregulated blood sugar. Consistently eating foods that cause large spikes in blood sugar will eventually lead to metabolic dysfunction. So here are 4 tips to help keeping blood sugar stable. First, eat vegetables before every meal. Eating fiber before consuming carbs significantly decreases glucose response. Second, eat sweets and higher carb foods after consuming proteins and fats. Third, do not skip meals if it leads to overconsumption of foods, which causes big glucose spike. And finally, keep stress low and breathe deep. Our breath regulates our nervous system. When breathing quick and shallow, we signal the body's fight or flight response, which pulls sugar into the bloodstream and causes high blood sugar. For more information, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. To one degree or another, every human being has had to deal with the issue of significance, including Jesus. If you base your personal significance on how others perceive you, you'll be forced to live your entire life on tiptoe. If you perceive that your self-worth is based on personal achievement, you can never stop trying to prove yourself. No matter what you accomplish, it will never be enough. Is there another way? A solution to this age-old question of self-worth? Yes. Our significance cannot be based on what we do, but only on the word of the Father. Luke 4:4 says, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of God." Lord, help us to trust only the word of the Father for our self-image. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, there you go. Too stupid, that's for sure. 54 minutes past the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm. You're more than welcome to come out, hang out, and do all the fun stuff on that side of the Aquajan. So just so you know, because that's what will be going on with the Aquajan on that particular side. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. So just some moves and grooves of things on the planet there. So as I take a look around and we are getting close to happening here, let's talk about some other things just very briefly as we go into it. If you want to know what happened on this day, let's take a look around at some years back. Let's take a look at 2013. The National Rifle Association reports a record membership numbers exceeding 5 million. The feat was announced at the organizational annual convention in Houston, Texas. The executive vice president, Wayne LaPierre. This came on the heels of the failed gun control bill in Congress that had heavily regulated firearms sales in America. That happened back in 2013. If you are looking at some birthdays for today, let's talk about some of those. Mitch Mammer turns 26. Jax the singer turns 27. Remington Lake 29. Young Bajama 30. Chris Brown 34. Adele 35. Henry Cavill 40. Vanessa Bryant 41. Daniel Fisher turns 42. Craig David 42. Bill Ward 75. And Michael Palin turns 80 today. So there you go. There's some birthdays going on right there. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, it's National Astronaut Day, Revenge of the 5th. Yes, you get that. Nail Day, Cinco de Mayo, National Hoagie Day, National Space Day, National No Pants Day. Maybe that's what's going on in this studio today. National Cartoonist Day, International Midwives Day, Hug a Shed and Take a Selfie Day, and International Tuba Day. Yeah, tuba. Yeah. What do you do on International Tuba Day? I have no clue, but I guess it sounds like a fun time. I don't know. What do you think? Did it sound cool to do the international tuba stuff? Sure, it does. Anyways, here's some whack facts for you. Only a quarter of the Sahara Desert is sandy. Over the last 150 years, the average height of people industrialized nations increased by 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Stills were invented in a French shepherd who needed a way to get around it was wet marshes. Cows don't have upper front teeth. Think about that. Thanks to 3D printing, NASA can basically email tools to astronauts. Major League Baseball umpires are required to wear black underwear in case they split their pants. So there you go. There's some useless knowledge for you for today. Anyways, what else? Let's TikTok. Yeah, that's it. Let's talk about some other stuff real quick. If you need a random joke for today, it may be Cinco de Mayo, but I don't celebrate because it promotes stereotypes. Plus, I can't be trusted with alcohol since I'm Irish. You get it? Okay. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's the funniest or weirdest ick you've ever gotten? Yep, there you go. If you need something for the water cooler, try this question. It can be embarrassing to be caught doing this, but 76% of people do this every day. What is it? Sing in the car. What do you mean sing in the car? I thought it was like scream in the car. So there you go. So that's it. That's going to sum up our time together. I really do appreciate you coming out, hanging out, and doing the thing that you do. Glad that we got to hang out on this Friday. I will see you Monday, unless you're coming over to hour 2 and 3 on, the Rated R Safety Show that's transferring over to the Jay Allen of the Morning Show. Will be on RadioBig.fm for the next couple hours. So if I can leave you with a deep thought for the day, the most wasted of days is one without laughter. So think about that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye. See you hour 2 and 3, Radio Big. Or if not, I'll see you Monday.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.